Hello, Brave Awakened Ones. This is Veronica of Higher Realm Holistics, coming to you from my car. I want to take a quick break at the office today, and I wanted to make this video about continue talking about the narcissistic spirit and the grip it has. It has, but it's losing, on this society. And 3D Earth, we all know that the veils came down, but with the veils coming down, there's still many people who are under the influence. It's like you could stop drinking, but you could still be drunk. You know what I'm saying? Because of all the drinking you did prior to. Okay, so basically there's still a lot of drunk people. All right, there's a lot of us, and some of us are still, you know, even if you're not completely drunk, you're still tipsy, you're still coming out of it, you're still trying to sober up. But they're turning up the heat. Okay, firstly, before I get into a heavy subject, thank you, subscribers. I know a lot of people being unsubscribed. You know, they talk about, you know, it's coming out how, you know, what they're doing and stuff, shadow banning people. It's not just people, you know, doing truth news and things like that. We're being hit just the same, those of us who are doing spiritual work and talking about spiritual things. We're being hit just as hard. They're targeting us and unsubscribing people, and my subscribership has dropped down to hardly anything at this point. Very, very little. And also my views have like been cut in half, and I know I'm buried because when I look at stuff, I used to pop up all the time. People that I knew from work were like, hey, I was looking for something and then you popped up. How did that happen? But now, you know, they're burying my videos. But all in the same, I don't care. I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to say what I have to say. You know, a lot of people try to avoid certain words, but I'm not going to do that because I got to get out the full message. Ain't nobody got time for that. I don't. So, second time making this video. First time, my grinder was all over the place, photobombing me the whole time. So I'm like, you know what? It just looks terrible, and I don't want her face in the video. So I'm redoing it now. And I want to talk about the #1 tool that has been used to manipulate us and to keep us. When I'm talking about us, I'm talking about everyone here on Earth. Going back as far as, you know, the entire Pisces age. Actually, it's the entire Pisces age with the narcissistic spirit. And it is a spirit. It has a life of its own. Just like the Holy Spirit, which is a spirit based in love, the narcissistic spirit is a spirit based in fear. And there's different levels of narcissism, as we all know, because it affects you in different ways. There are different aspects of narcissism. And what I'm talking about, the #1 tool of the narcissistic spirit, is guilt is one of it, but it goes in with grooming. There are different stages to grooming. Okay, I worked adolescent psych counseling and adolescent psych before I became a nurse, and then went back to school and became certified in holistic health. But when I was doing that adolescent psych, you know, that was a huge thing we had to understand and learn. Besides my school education on that, once I started working at an adolescent psych facility, you know, we had a whole week's training talking about grooming, because that's something really important. And people who are pedophiles, they're narcissists. They're extreme narcissists. Okay? Not every narcissist is a pedophile, but every pedophile is a narcissist. Has an extreme that demonic narcissistic spirit is strong on them. So we're all being groomed. You know, we've been groomed. You know, some of us don't fall for it. We wake up from it. Even I, as a child, young child, the Monsignor, if you're Catholic, he's like the head of the church, the entire church where you go to. It's like saying the lead pastor or something, right? You know, he tried grooming me to abuse me. My mother was well groomed, because they groom the parents too, so they can get a hold of the kid. And that's what's been going on, very strong. I mean, it's obvious to a lot of us who are awakened, but to those like the SJWs, you know, those running around in pride parades, half naked, you know, and yo, I live in Miami Beach. I live right by South Beach. Been to many pride parades, trying to be supportive to my gay friends, and even they were like, this is the last year I'm coming, because every year it got more explicit and more explicit and more explicit. You used to not see children at these parades, and I even went to them in New York. And then now you see kids standing next to guys dressed in S&M suits with freaking things just protecting, just covering their penises, but in the shape of their penis, with a child right there, his face right there. A dad holding his kid dressed in S&M gear while the kid's dressed like the freaking Village People. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. There's no denying it. That's grooming. They say, oh, a kid doesn't know. They just know it's a fun time and people are dressed up in costumes. It's grooming. Because kids learn by seeing. Kids imitate. That is how children learn. And that's what they're counting on. And when somebody says, oh, if you constantly harp on something, you're causing it to happen. That's another. It's half-truths. That is the manipulation of the narcissist. Half-truths. Or taking the truth and twisting it and inverting it. Using it to manipulate. Yeah, that is true. If you harp on something, you end up manifesting it. But if you ignore something and let it go on, this is where we get. You get to live in hell. You get to live in a world that says that, oh, you know, everybody's born a sexual being, and if you molest a 3-month-old baby, they're going to enjoy it. And they're not going to remember. All they're going to remember is the pleasant feelings. That's the new talk. A big time magazine actually talked about it. I saw a picture of a kid dressed with cut-off shorts, a little boy, maybe 4 to 5 years old, little boy, cut-off shorts with these rainbow suspenders and a construction man hat. I suppose he was supposed to be one of the construction guys from Village People. They love to imitate that. Sitting on his dad's shoulders, who's dressed very provocatively, looking at some float, some crazy looking float. You telling me that kid's not being groomed? That's called grooming. And my granddaughter was watching. She's only 2. She was watching this little cartoon. I put on this little cartoon. I thought it looked cute. It was these bugs, these animated bugs. They were in school. And the first little episode they showed, I was like, got my attention. It was this one new bug came to the school, and he was a very fat bug. He was a huge bug, very round. And they were playing kickball. Now, the fat bug couldn't run and get the kickball and stuff like that. He was out of, like, what's the matter? I can't breathe. This is very hard for me to run because I'm so big. That's okay. We'll play another game. So you could play too. Okay, I was like, maybe that little bug shouldn't be shoving all that food in his mouth. Okay? Now, they go into the classroom. The big fat bug couldn't fit behind the desk. And teacher's like, oh, don't worry. We're going to change the desk. And then the fat bug felt uncomfortable that he was the only one with the big desk. So then everybody got big desk. We just want to include you in everything. Again, manipulation, grooming. The Wall-E movie, okay? Where everybody's obese, everybody's fat, just sitting there stuffing their face. Why not make that little bug, that fat bug, exercise and lose some weight, or make him stop eating because that little bug was, I'm always hungry, so that's why I'm eating. That's okay. Everything was okay. Everything was fine. Everything was inclusivity. I was like, well, ain't this some brainwashing bullshit? Saying that morbid obesity is okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. And then episode number 2, because it was like 15 minutes each, this one was even better. It was Love-A-Bug Day. And I don't know, my antennas, haha, no pun intended, immediately went up. I was like, Love-A-Bug Day? Does that have something to do with pride? Because God knows they're shoving it down everybody's throat right now. And all the other little bugs, the project was, all the bugs had to dress up like, pick a fabulous bug. An exciting, fabulous bug that you wish you could be. And then, so they're all picking different bugs, right? So everybody had to dress up as another bug for the big parade. These two little bug boys, they did not want to do it. They said, we don't want to dress. We look silly. That's foolish. And then you see other kids, well, we're having fun. This is exciting. And they have the little boy bugs dressed up like female bugs. Like there was this one boy bug dressed up as a ladybug with makeup on and everything. Oh, this is so much fun. And then, no, you look like a girl, the one of the little boy bugs who didn't want to do the whole thing. And then all the other little bugs got on their cases. And then the teacher got on their case. And then the parents like, well, you know, you can't come to the parade. And then you had the mommy and the daddy bug. I'm surprised they had a mom and a dad, since they want to say dads aren't important nowadays. And it doesn't take a male and a female to make children. They had the mom and a dad bug dressed up opposite, of course. And then dad was dressed like mom and mom was dressed like dad. Well, this is so much fun. And then the kid was like, no, you look silly, dad. You look silly, mom. I don't want to be a part of it. Well, that means you don't value. They were trying to tell the little bug who didn't want to dress up opposite that he didn't value the importance and the fabulousness of the other bugs. That's why he didn't want to dress up. So eventually they gave in. They broke him. So they dressed up and joined the parade. And now all of a sudden all was well. I was like, oh, fuck no. I was like, how? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Mind fuckery going on. And that's all you can say about it. I was like, wow. You know, it's like they're hitting us from every front. But it's becoming more and more blatant, you know, because they're becoming more and more desperate. And then guilt is part of the whole grooming thing, because it's like, oh, if you don't accept it, if you don't want to be part of it, if it makes you uncomfortable, something's wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. Like I said, as a child, I had the Monsignor grooming me. He did it to me, my sisters, and my two cousins. But my aunt was smart enough and yanked the kids out of school and the church, when my mom, who loved to play victim, was like blaming me and my sisters because we'd say, no, he makes us feel weird. He's touching us. He's doing this. He's doing that. And I was especially vocal about it. So I got punished the most for it. Because, of course, you'd say, I'm just trying to discipline them. How? By sticking your tongue down my throat and chasing me around your desk? Yeah. So that, at first, you know, you get the attention. They start by giving you attention and giving you compliments. Which always made me uncomfortable. Like, why is he singling me out? You know, I always felt singled out by him. I never liked it. When my older sister, she brought into it until he grabbed at her. Then she was like, uh-oh. I'm like, yeah, I told you something was wrong with him. But that's part of the narcissistic spirit that we have to clean out of here, that we have to banish out of our lives and out of the earth. All right. Just, you know, I am doing my webinar on Saturday, the 29th of June at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You go to my website to register. And yes, the banishing is, you could focus on a particular person, which I had to do. I had to banish my ex-husband, finally, from my life, because I did all the cord cutting all the time and the binding. I did all that, and my old soul made it very clear. You must banish him. You can't have him in your life or your children's life, because haven't you learned enough every time you manifest? Like, I lost 2 homes because of him. I lost both my children's college funds because I did not banish him, because I kept feeling it's better to have a little piece of a father in your life than none at all, because I didn't have one due to my mom's ego. Even though my dad wanted to be in it, she'd hide us out, and because he got remarried. So I was like, you know, and he used that. Grooming again. My ex-husband used to say, do you want to be like your mom? Do you want to be like your mom? Oh, you're going to be like your mom. You're going to be like your mom. So that was grooming. That made me constantly in my head, even though, you know, yeah, I could divorce him, but I'll still have to have him in the kid's life, even though, come to find out, you know, he also, of course, groomed my kids too. my son, you know, has a history of seizures, hasn't had one since he was 12 because I've been taking care of it, not putting him on those poisonous medicines. He, you know, I was like, oh, you know, he's okay being at his dad's house, he's being at his dad's house. And my son told me, you know, when I saw him back in May, he told me of this year that, yeah, his father encouraged him to drink. And he's like, yeah, I told him that I shouldn't because of the seizures. But he told me that, you know, since I haven't had a seizure in a while, it's best to get it out of the way and I should get drunk at least once. And I said, so what happened? He's like, well, I'm almost afraid to tell you. I was like, what? Did you have a seizure? He goes, I think something real bad happened because I woke up and I was on the kitchen floor and a friend of mine told me I was passed out for hours. I said, and where was your dad? Oh, dad was drunk and he just was with his friends. He left me there. And then I just drove myself home the next day. Yeah. So, and I still didn't banish him at that point. But I was told, you know, either do it or you're not even going to have your financial blessings that you're supposed to have, which you're supposed to help your children with. Because if you give it to your kids, they're going to end up giving it to their dad. He's going to talk them into it. He's going to manipulate them. He's been grooming them. The narcissistic demon on him knows it's coming. So I'm like, fuck no, I've gone too far and worked too hard for this. So I did the banishing. And I was shown how he was going to separate from my son, how, you know, because he no longer could feed off of me. His narcissistic demonic self knows it's cut off. He can't feed off of me. So he's going to disappear from all our lives. And that's what you have to know about banishing. Once you do it, just know. Don't do it unless you're serious about never having that person in your life again. I have done it in the past, the banishing, so I know. And I've lived down the block from a person that I banished, and I never saw him. Never. I have friends, family saying, oh, so-and-so, you haven't seen him? Nope, haven't seen him in over 20 years. I even went last summer, stayed at my friend's house. He worked just a few blocks away. She would see him all the time. I would go in and out of the store without fear, knowing I'd never bump into him, and I never did. Never. The universe arranges it for you once you're serious about it, okay? And you do something about it. All right, so if you're ready for that kind of level, join me Saturday, $22 only. It's a lot of work that I do to put into it. Took me days to prepare. You get your handout. Everything comes with it, and a recording. Even if you can't make it live, you still get, just as long as you register, you get the recording, all the material too. And my other webinars are still available on my website, higherrealmholistics.com, as well as you can book yourself for a private session. And don't forget, July 2nd, the solar eclipse, the full solar eclipse, we're going to be doing it, banishing the narcissistic energy spirit, doing our part to banish the narcissistic energy spirit from Earth. Okay, bind it, banish it, reverse it, send it into the fiery pits of hell. Okay, that's what we're going to be doing for Earth itself. So join in. That's going to be live. I'm going to go live, okay, on YouTube to do that. All right, everyone, peace. Lady V out. Okay, we already got the victory.